Guard Howard Talley observed Chism carrying something as he entered the lavatory. When the prisoner did not return after some time, Talley grew suspicious and investigated. Upon entry, he encountered 3 inmates, 2 of whom were trying to pry open a window while the third, Chism, aimed a shotgun at Talley. Instinctively, the guard smashed the door against the inmate and a gunfight ensued, with Chism being grazed on his right thumb and shoulder while shooting Officer Talley in the chest and arm. His bulletproof vest likely saved his life. Forced to surrender their .38 caliber pistols. Outside the bathroom, the prisoners fired 2 more warning shots at the ceiling. The buckshot ricochet slightly wounded James Wine, a prisoner not involved in the escape. It was clear that Chism was the ringleader as he barked the orders to the other inmates. Convicted rapists Floyd Brewer and George Bonds, ages 28 and 24, and 31-year-old Ronald Lyons, serving a 50-year sentence for armed robbery. A victim told reporters, "I fell to the floor, crouched behind the counter as soon as bullets flew. Mrs. Johnson crawled under a sink. One of them dove head first over the counter and crawled near me. I curled into a corner near the counter's edge. I just laid there hoping to God they would not come through the counter and get me. One of them ordered me to come with them. I guess it was minutes, but it seemed like hours." With 18-year-old bowling alley employee Carolyn Barnett, the men left the facility. The guns had been stashed up in the bathroom ceiling prior to their arrival by a civilian accomplice. It was a few minutes before 3 p.m. when the shouting and war started. Petite brunette Carolyn and Katherine Johnson had been serving food to the inmates since 1:30 p.m. that day. After wrecking a car, they took another employee's car and drove to the small Dixon Municipal Airport, where they released Carolyn. They then turned their guns on pilot and airport owner Mel Ramini and his young son, Robert. The men ordered Ramini, washing his airplane at the time, to fly them from the area. During the flight, Chism displayed his intellect, ordering the plane to be flown at a low altitude to avoid radar detection. Chism and his crew ordered the man to fly them to Arkansas. After 2.5 hours amidst heavy cloud cover and thunderstorms, the overloaded single-engine 4-seat Cessna 180 gave out shortly after crossing the Arkansas border. Ramini was forced to make an emergency landing on a dirt road adjacent to a rice field near Marianna, in the east-central part of the state. Because it was not prepared for the flight, the plane encountered problems in the air. As a result, the pilot had to make an emergency landing in Marianna Lee County on a dirt road. The escapees fled the downed plane, splitting into pairs, leaving Ramini and his son 300 miles southwest of the escape point and, ironically or not, only about 20 miles from Chism's native Forest City, where his parents, Millard and Francis, brothers, Harry and Pat, and former wife, Elizabeth, all lived. Another strange coincidence was that Larry Chism's brothers all visited him at the prison that week. Ramini later said the men treated him okay despite repeated threats, telling him at one point to shut up. "I need to think. They didn't talk to me much other than give me orders," he said. "They just said if I did what they told me, they wouldn't hurt me, and they didn't." He described the group's leader as awful afraid that we were being followed. Running low on fuel after the roughly 220-mile flight, Ramini set the plane down on a muddy farm road at the edge of a rice field in rural Lee County. His first time landing on anything but a runway. "We stopped just before a big mud hole," he said, adding he'd feared the plane might flip. Private planes and helicopters from West Tennessee and Kentucky entered pursuit, including Ramini's own son, Robert, in one plane trying to establish radio contact, and Dixon Mayor Don Buckner airborne within 15 minutes. Memphis radar tracked the aircraft northwest and pursuers closed in near the Cumberland City steam plant, but lost contact after the fugitives dropped below radar range. flying at roughly 1,000 feet and eventually treetop level. The men left him unharmed after an hour, taking their weapons but leaving one shotgun in the plane. Ramini's shirt was stained with blood from Chism, who Ramini's captor's hostage Rutledge later described as having a graze over the left shoulder and a continuously bleeding thumb wound. FBI agents spent the next day lifting fingerprints from the Cessna as Ramini, still barefoot in his blood-spattered clothes, watched from the muddy runway. Ricky Rutledge of nearby Morrow heard the plane land and drove to the site to offer assistance. Instead, he became the next hostage as Chism and Lyons carjacked his pickup and forced him to drive for over an hour and a half before ordering him to stop at a rural woodland home, nearly 100 miles southwest of where the plane had landed. The group rode Arkansas Delta backroads for about 3 hours before stopping at the Lonoke County home of John and Faye King, retirees in their 60s who farmed part-time. The men had soft drinks and snacks and had everyone go to bed for the night, sleeping in shifts of 2 while the other 2 stood guard inside and outside of the house. Rutledge said the Kings were nervous, but the elderly couple was cooperative, and Rutledge said he was allowed to sleep and was accompanied by an armed captor only when he needed to use the bathroom. Conversation overheard by Rutledge suggested the fugitives had no firm destination. At one point they discussed trying to hijack another plane at the Little Rock airport. At other times discussed local addresses and splitting up to meet somewhere unspecified. State police said Chism was known to be familiar with the area's back roads. About 7 a.m., 2 of the men told the Kings they'd wrecked their vehicle in a ditch nearby and needed help. Once led inside, they took the couple's Ford Bronco and Chevrolet Monte Carlo before leaving. They tied Rutledge spread-eagled to a bed, telling him Mrs. King would return in about 2 hours to release him if nothing went wrong. He freed himself in about 20 minutes and called his wife, then the state police. 2 were spotted about 10 a.m. by a state trooper, heading north on US 67 in the King's stolen 1978 Chevy Love pickup. Lawrence County Deputy J.R. Hankins, 23, en route to help set up a roadblock, tried to wave them down. He said they rammed his patrol car head-on although they had room to pass. "It looked to me like they did it deliberately," he said. 2 revolvers and a shotgun were found in the truck. Prosecutors added aggravated assault charges and federal counts. Chism and Lyons continued on with the Kings. When Arkansas State Police caught up, Chism abandoned the truck on a dead-end county road and fled on foot into the woods with 3 new hostages, area residents Alvin Raby, J.B. Arnold, and Bill Osborne, who were released around 4 p.m. Both men were injured in the crash and were treated at the University of Arkansas's medical center. The captured cons told police their fellow escapees had mentioned going to Texas, but investigators felt that Chism was still in his native Arkansas. Over the following 2 days, 2 sightings of Larry Chism were reported near Calico Rock, 140 miles northwest of his native Forest City. A man declined to give him a ride, and a woman reported seeing a man she believed to be Chism loitering near her home. Shortly thereafter, Chism took a pickup and took its 3 passengers, local residents Alvin Raby, J.B. Arnold, and Bill Osborne. A passing truck saw the inmate holding the men and reported the incident. A chase ensued with Chism wrecking the truck and fleeing into the woods. The following day, 3 days after the prison escape, a scruffy man emerged from the woods near Viola, 25 miles northeast of Calico Rock and 8 miles from the Missouri border. He went to the residence of 42-year-old trucker Carl Hensley and ordered him to give him a ride out of the area. Hensley complied. Hensley's wife recognized the man as Chism from television reports of the inmate's escape and called police. After they located the vehicle and began pursuit, Chism pushed Hensley out the door, took the wheel, and drove through a roadblock. Police shot 6 rounds into the truck's wheels, causing it to crash. Chism surrendered after one of the shots grazed his head and another his hand. After being treated at a local hospital, he was again jailed. Lyons was captured separately roughly a year afterward in Nevada. In total, the 4 fugitives had taken 9 hostages, all of whom were ultimately released physically unharmed.